One thing that we all have in common is that we have to work for our money. It's an inevitable truth. And whether you like your job, hate your job, or you're just dead inside, we all have a job. I'm here to talk about how all jobs suck. Hey, welcome to the podcast. My name is Nick. If you're just now joining us for the first time on episode 2 for some reason, instead of listening to episode 1, which was only 5 minutes long, go back and listen to that, and it'll explain what this is about. In this next part, we will be talking with my mom, not yours, and we'll be discussing her jobs and everything that she's been through. This is a long episode, so it will be broken up into 2 parts, but here it goes. Enjoy. Long before I even knew what a payroll was, or even how to clock in, or even thought about being late for something, there was a person before me. A person that labored for many, many hours in order to provide me with food and clothing, in order for me to survive. That person I owe everything to. That brave soul was none other than my mom. Yes, not only did my mom work her fingers to the bone and ensure that I was able to eat and have a roof over my head, she had a job. And anyone who's ever met my mom knows that she loves to talk about her favorite thing, which is her job. She talks about her job probably 70% of any conversation at any given time. And if you've been paying attention, then you should know that earlier in the podcast I mentioned there are 3 types of people. Well, my mom is definitely one of those people who doesn't think her job sucks. But I'm here to tell you that all jobs suck. It's a given fact. All right, Mom, go ahead and introduce yourself. Say something. Just say, introduce yourself.
Change my name, but my name is.
You don't have to say.
Oh yeah, I'm Rebecca.
You can be Rebecca?
Yeah, I am Rebecca.
Okay, Rebecca. What would you consider your career or job?
I am a salon manager, a pet salon manager, dog groomer.
A dog groomer, salon manager. And how long have you been doing that?
Since 1976. I took 5 years off to work for a veterinarian. I was office manager for one veterinarian that I worked for, and I assisted in surgeries and kennels, clinic. We were like a 2-man operation. And for the other one, I was same thing, office manager / assistant in surgery. I didn't have to clean kennels there.
Did you enjoy working as a veterinarian assistant?
Absolutely.
And then how did you get into dog grooming?
I was working with racehorses and traveling the country with the Grand Circuit. It should be no surprise to any of us that our parents do crazy, ridiculous things when they were kids, but I couldn't imagine traveling the country when I was 18 years old.
How old were you in traveling the country with racehorses?
18 to 25.
Now that I'm a father, I know that that sounds crazy. There is absolutely no way I'm going to let my daughter, when she's 18 years old, travel the country to be a horse race person.
World-class racehorses. And we would be in one city one day, 1 week, and then go to the next city for the second week, and then move from track to track all over for these big high-dollar races. This sounds absolutely crazy and terrifying to me. I can't believe my mom actually did these things.
Did that pay a lot?
No, I was back then. It was $125 a week, which was good.
I asked her where she slept at night.
Sometimes hotel rooms, but when we would go to county fairs or state fairs, it would be at state fairs, like Illinois State Fair, where they had the Hamiltonian, the biggest race in harness racing, and there wouldn't be any hotels. So what we would have to do is get the stall and take the next stall and rake it all out and put your cot up in there and sleep.
So you would
Here.
rake out the manure out of the horse stall. Okay, I've heard of some really crappy jobs, but that one takes the cake. You are literally sleeping where a horse just took a dump.
Everybody did it. Everybody had it. Or we'd sleep in the barn. If we had a nice barn that wasn't a shed row is just stalls, one after another, with it. There's no real covering.
Again, I thought I had it bad, and I never had it that bad.
Well, they're really nice barns. They would have a shower available for you.
You did that for 5 years, sleeping in random places throughout the. What all states did you go to?
Florida,
Different cities in Florida.
Maryland, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Jersey, Toronto, Illinois, DuQuoin, Illinois, and Montreal.
Again, I haven't even been to half that many places, let alone out of the country, and my mom has done all of that before she got to the age of 25. Sleeping in manure-covered grounds and open spaces across random places. I'm just baffled, man.
These horse races, what would be the horse race? Like, what would be like the Preakness? Would they eventually be in the Preakness?
It would be like that, but they were the horses that pulled the carts, the standardbreds.
The standardbred.
Yeah, they would trotters and pacers, and I had trotters, I had one pacer, but they would race for big money. They'd come there where they have a big race, and it's just these horses were up in the quality with Secretariat and stuff.
Even moms can't resist a name drop.
Yeah, it was a big time horse that everybody knows about. So was ours. Mine was a 5-to-1 shot in the Hamiltonian, but he didn't win it. But he was Trotter of the Year as a 2-year-old.
Eventually, I guess you wanted to have a family, and you realized you can't.
Eventually
cities.
I thought somebody was going to kill me from sleeping in these stalls. It got a little scary.
So jobs can be complicated. As you can tell, my mom really enjoyed her job. However, it's pretty obvious that the job sucked. She just doesn't see it that way. And here's some more facts to back up my evidence.
Because the more you go on the road, the more you would notice. I got real sick one night. I think I had food poisoning, and I'm sleeping in a stall. This is in Ohio at the Little Brown Jug. That's a $200,000 purse race. And it's probably $1 million now.
For all my horse nerds out there, the 2019 purse was $642,000. Not a bad day's work.
But I was sleeping there and nobody could hear me, and I was so sick and throwing up in the stall. And there was a horse named Nero down at the end of the barn that somebody tried to kill.
Yeah, there's probably another story there, but that's for a different podcast.
And he had Pinkerton cops around his bulletproof stall.
What's a Pinkerton cop?
You rent them like a security.
Oh, okay. Do they have
security.
guns?
Huh?
Do they have guns?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And there were 2 of
So
them.
rent-a-cops.
They're not rent-a-cops. This Pinkerton is like a real big classy thing.
Oh, okay.
They were Pinkerton cops. So they were guarding this horse, and I was hollering for them. They wouldn't come up because the horse was too important. They weren't allowed to leave.
Seems like they're really good at their job.
So you're screaming help, and these Pinkerton cops are just guarding the horse.
Guarding the horse, yeah.
Wow. And then what happened? Why were you screaming help again?
I had food poisoning. I was really ill. And I woke up about noon the next day, and I was feeling a little bit better. And I had to work that day.
So after surviving food poisoning, sleeping in a stall all night, one of her craziest encounters was in the city, of all places.
When we went to Yonkers, that's in the middle of downtown Brooklyn or something like that. It was very unsafe.
Yeah.
And I just thought I was going to end up getting killed because some of the people are lowlifes,
Well, you didn't know where you were in Yonkers. You had no business being in Yonkers. I mean,
I was in a hotel at Yonkers.
You had no business being in Yonkers where you're usually staying in a stall. It's kind of like complete opposite. Where do I rake out the manure? Like, no, man,
it was nice. It was very classy,
Right.
It was a different way to live, and it was very classy.
Right.
If you can imagine that.
Being a vagabond.
Well, it was hard to get.
Traveling with the
Yeah,
horses.
once he got cleaned up,
Sound like a
he'd
circus.
look pretty good, and then go to the races at night. It was a lot of fun. It was an awful lot of fun.
Right.
But I saw I was either going to get murdered or raped or something bad was going to happen or get so sick and nobody
Could save you.
could save me. Yeah.
Being food poisoned and being left to die in a hot manure stall sounds pretty bad. I think I'd quit that job too.
When we came back, we would winter in Florida to train yearlings. And I just told him that I wasn't going to do it anymore. I couldn't do it. I was going to go. My stepfather made an offer for me to go to dog grooming school and then he would pay it all. So that's what I'm going to do. So that was it. I had my time with that. I loved every minute of it.
So, dear old mom switched jobs and decided to follow another dream of being a dog groomer.
Yes, I went to dog grooming school in Pompano Beach, Florida.
Florida. How long did it take to complete dog grooming?
That was a 6-month course. It was not like the way it is up here, but it was 6 months.
How much did your stepfather pay for dog grooming school?
All of it. But I had to pay for my own apartment, so I worked at a bar.
Worked at a bar?
Well, yeah, they had a drive-up window liquor store with a drive off of the bar. So that's where I worked. Was in
If you're lucky enough to live in one of the 30 states that have drive-up liquor stores, God bless you. God bless America.
vodka, Popeye vodka.
Hey, Bo, sling me one of them Popeyes vodka.
But yeah, the same people all the time, you know. So that's what I did to pay my rent. It was very difficult, and I was living in an efficiency apartment.
We've all been there, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay the bills, just put bologna sandwiches on our table until something happens and you get sick. You don't have health insurance. Well, we all know how that is too. Health insurance costs money, and if you don't have the right job with the right benefits, then you're just going to get
My
sick.
teacher, the owner of the school, invited me up. He was also a volunteer fireman, and he invited me up to a fireman party in Pompano Beach. And they had pool tables and different stuff up there to do and stuff. And I got very ill there, very ill. And I had appendicitis, but I didn't go to the hospital because I didn't have insurance. So, I mean, it was all swollen on my left side.
Oh, die like that.
Right side it was. Yeah, I didn't know that much then. So I went through the night. I stayed with one of his best friends, and they took care of me by putting cold rags on me and stuff. I was really sick. And then the next day I was better. So either it burst or something, but I got all right.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I don't know if I have an appendix now or not.
Before I get flooded with comments, yeah, you cannot live without an appendix, and I'm sure my mom still has hers. Whatever happened to her was probably some other medical condition that probably could have killed her, but due to the fact she never went to the hospital, never saw a doctor about it, due to not having medical insurance because of her crappy job, well, we're just lucky I'm here to give you this awesome podcast.
So after that, a couple of weeks after that, I was in my apartment sleeping, and I didn't really have any friends because all my friends were with the horses.
A quick caution discretion for anyone that might be sensitive. My mom's about to talk about rape. Yeah, she's about to go there. And if you're sensitive to that, I recommend not listening to this.
And I had a big old English sheepdog that somebody grooming school gave me. And I had my little West Highland White Terrier that I would travel with all the time. And this guy climbed in my window because the air conditioner was broke and I had the windows open, and removed the screen, and I had a bookcase in front of the window, moved the bookcase and came in, and I'm sleeping right there. And I had gone to the beach that day, and I was all sunburned, under the sheets. And I woke up to the guy touching me. And I remember looking over, and the clock said 5:12. So it was 5:12 in the morning when it happened. And I started to scream and scream and scream. And he put his hand over me and he says, "Shut up, I'm not going to hurt you." Oh, it was just so bad. But I kept screaming because he was going to have to kill me. And he left. And as he left, I saw he had jeans on, and he had this tie-dye pink salmon-colored T-shirt. And that's what the Pompano Volunteer Fire Department people wore. That's what he had on. So he was one of them.
One of the fire department people?
Yeah, from that party.
He knew where you were. He knew where you were going to be. So
Well, I think I know who it was because I got dropped off by Skip. That was the owner of the school. And he was with them. And it was a friend of Skip's, you know. He said, here, I'll walk you up to your apartments. And then he knew where I lived. And he put me up against the wall and tried to kiss me. And I just kind of shoved him off. And it was like 2 nights after that. So I think it was him.
After listening to this story as I'm editing it, I realized that my mom might have a skewed perspective. Listening to the story, it seems like her burst appendix was actually Spanish fly, or she was drugged. As we know from the Bill Cosby trials, that was way more common than we knew.
So anyway, they all called the police and all that, and they had 7 police come out and do nothing. And my old English sheepdog jumped in the back of one of the police cars. It wouldn't get out. It kept trying growling and biting at. It wouldn't get out. It was like 45 minutes. They were trying to get the dog out. I thought they were going to tranquilize him or something. But finally, he came out. So I was still friends with people at the racetrack at that time. And the veterinarian, you know, he stayed there all year. So I went over, I had some friends from the vets from the racetrack, and assistant vets. They didn't travel the Grand Circuit. So I went over there and I told the one vet what had happened to me. And it was like 2 weeks later. And he said, let me call my friend. He's on the Pompano Beach. He's the chief of police or something like that with Pompano Beach. So he called them to see what happened. And they didn't even make it a crime, nothing. They didn't file a report. They did nothing.
This is all too common, and I'm sure it still goes on today. It's awful and disgusting, and makes my stomach hurt that happened to my mom.
Well, when I worked for animal clinic, or I believe a veterinary clinic in Pompano Beach. No, I think it was in Lauderdale. Okay, I don't know. I'm trying to think, picturing it.
No, it was a Wednesday.
So anyway, this guy, he had some issues, the vet. And there were 2 vets there. They both kind of looked alike. One was tall and skinny with bushy black hair, glasses, those wire rim glasses. And the other one wore the wire rim glasses, and he had black bushy hair, but he was a little shorter. So they kind of looked, they were really comical together. And he had a problem with drugs.
I can't believe anyone had a problem with drugs in the 70s. That's ridiculous.
He took hydrocodone, and it was, I forget the name of it now, Hycodan. And it was in a bottle form that they gave for dogs with kennel cough so that they would stop coughing, and for dogs that were in a whole lot of pain. Okay? So he would get it and drink it. He kept it in his desk. And I didn't know this for a long time.
Hey, quick advisory, cautionary tale for anyone who is sensitive to animal abuse. If you don't have a dark soul like my mom and I, then you may not find this funny, but it does involve a man killing a dog and a thing with a monkey.
But he would be like really stoned out of his mind, I guess. And he had these surgeries. Like, for instance, we had it's kind of sad. We had a Doberman Pinscher come in that was hit by a car and his leg was broken. And so he was going to give him some Serotal to knock him out to take his x-ray. And it's a clear fluid with a little bit of white powder stuff. You shake it up and then you inject it into his vein. Instead, he grabbed cortisone for dogs. And he grabbed that bottle, which was also clear. And we're all saying, Dr. Rooney, Dr. Rooney. He said, shut up. And he injected that dog with cortisone right into his vein, and he instantly died. So that's kind of sad.
So yeah, man killed a dog because he was too stoned to figure out what he was doing. The 70s, gotta love it.
Here's the funniest one.
I hope you have a funny one.
I do have a funny one. He was an exotic bird vet or whatever. We took exotic animals like woolly monkeys.
Was he like the Tiger King?
I'm Joe Exotic, and don't forget, I am now stepping my foot in the ring to run for president. And this is all paid for by the committee of Joe Exotic.
We had one lion customer that he would mud wrestle with girls in Miami. He worked, the lion worked somewhere, and it was castrated, so he didn't grow a mane. He looked like a girl lion.
Poor lion.
Yeah, but he weighed 600 pounds, and his
To
name
have
was
his-
Ralph.
To have his dream to wrestle with mud with
Yeah.
girls and have nothing to do with it.
Well, we'd have to close the clinic and
His
bring him in
mane
through the
shaved.
back and stuff. But he did parrots, and he did, all these different animals. Well, we had a woolly monkey. They're very tall, skinny things, a little bit higher than your knee. And they have very long legs and a big long tail that they balance with, like they'll hang in the tree from the tails. And little faces like small chimpanzees. They're really cute. So these people would bring them into the vet's office. They're all wearing baby clothes and stuff. And, the older people that have them, they treat them like their little kid. They wear diapers. And one of them bit somebody. So he was quarantined for 10 days by animal control. And you had to do it either at your vet or there. So he had him quarantined at our place. So we put him in an incubator, which was a big box, and you would close it. It had a glass front, and you would close it, and the whole door was the front. So he had to have his newspapers changed the next morning, and everybody's afraid of it because it's. I'm not opening that. I'm not going to go in there. Open the door and get his newspapers. He'd fight you. And he's waiting for you,
He's been caged up for 10
he's
days.
smiling at you, showing his teeth and ready. No, he was only there a couple of days when that happened. So Dr. Brown, the younger doctor that was not the owner, the younger guy, he said, "Oh God, I'll get it." So he opens it just a little bit, and out comes that monkey. And he's running all over the back. And we had in the back a big area, like a garage area for storage. I think the owner of the vet kept his fishing poles there and stuff. Well, somehow, before he went back there, he got up under the ceiling, up in the ceiling. And he's running around the ceiling. He went up there from receiving, from the back where the garage was. He was climbing up the ropes of the garage door to get up into the ceiling. And the head doctor guy took one of his bamboo sticks that he had for fishing and taped a syringe to knock him out. A syringe full of stuff to knock him. Oh, and it's like a spear, and he's trying to get him, and this monkey's just looking at him and talking. So he got up in the ceiling. So it got to be 3:00, and we had to start seeing clients again. So I'm sitting up there at the reception area, and they have that monkey opened one of the door, the panels that are in the ceiling, and he was throwing stuff at me. He was holding it up, throwing stuff. And we're not supposed to let anybody know that this is going on.
That there's a primate in the ceiling.
Yeah, there's a monkey in the ceiling. Don't look. So and I'm just sitting there trying to act normal, and I'm kind of looking here. He's following. So he ran from that, and all of a sudden, he gets up through an air duct onto the roof of the building, and he's gone outside. So that's a big deal. Now, these monkeys cost about $12,000. That was back then. And so he eventually got down off the building, and Dr. You have to delete his name, with his long white coat and these wire rimmed glasses and this wild curly hair. And the other doctor with his white coat and his long, his curly hair and the glasses. It was so funny. It's like the Marx Brothers.
I've never been so insulted in my life.
Well, it's early yet.
He had his spear with the bamboo spear, and the other doctor had a big fishing net from the back tied to another cane pole. So the two of them we were on a main, like Independence Boulevard. It was 441, and that monkey's running up 441, and with the vets chasing after one with the spear and one with big pet.
Did they catch
And
him?
it ran into the Holiday Inn parking lot about a half a mile up the road. And it's running and it stopped for a second to look and see how far ahead he was, with them. And a man was getting out of his car and he just threw his raincoat on him and caught him. Just like that. And so they got him back. That was fun. Yeah, there were a couple of funny ones there.
Another advisory, if you're sensitive to dead animal stories, please don't listen to this. My mom is dark, yo.
We had a lady, two men, bring a little dog in to have it put to sleep. It was very old, this dog, little dachshund. And I could see a tear coming down to one guy. And I didn't ask why. And they just said, call this number when it's done and they'll come pick it up. I said, oh, okay. And they were really upset. So I took the dog to the back and we did it, and he's in a little box. And
For those of you not keeping up, that means she put the dog to sleep, murdered it because that's her job.
so I called and they said, oh, okay, we'll be right up there to get him. We'll be right up there. And I said, okay, he's here. So I forgot about it. I called, and I forgot about it.
Hey, we all forget to do things at our job. My mom just forgot there was a dead dog underneath her desk at work. How many of us don't do that? It's common.
They answered the phone, Ralph Funeral Home. Ralph was popular, that name down there. It was Ralph Funeral Home. And I thought that was weird. I thought maybe it was the lady's dog or something. And they said, we'll be up there to pick it up right now. I said, okay. So I went home. I had the keys to the clinic and I locked everything up and went home. I forgot about it. It's under my desk.
Hey, you listener, judging my mom. We all forget things. Give her a break.
So I was off the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. The high school girl called me this work Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. What is this dead dog doing under the desk? And I said, oh my God, let me call this lady. And I said, give me your number. It's written here. And so I called and I said, this is the animal hospital. The dog is still under my desk. She said, no, we picked that dog up. And I said, no, you didn't. It's sitting up under my desk. It worked. And she went, oh no, they must have got the wrong dog. They went to a different animal hospital with a hearse and picked up the wrong dog. They went back in their freezer, I guess, and found a dachshund and gave it to him. So I said, well, why do you need the dog? She said, well, we're going to embalm him. The owner had cancer, and what her wish was, because he was so old, she didn't want to pawn him off on somebody to be put to sleep when she dies and they be buried together. So she said, darn, I just finished embalming the other dog. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, maybe you could just leave it like that, And she says, no, the family's going to do private viewing, and they know that dog. And this one doesn't have the gray hair like his, it's all young looking. So make sure they find the right place, because otherwise you'll have every dead dachshund in Florida down there. I'm wondering if they didn't want to run to the back and see a dachshund and put it to sleep real fast.
Here's your dog, ma'am.
Yeah, here it is.
First pulls up, you give them what they want.
Yeah.
Another one bites the dust. Few books further down the street with the brick pool way down.
That's where we're going to leave ourselves off here today, and we'll pick up later with the rest of my mom's work history. She has worked way longer than I have, so she has more work history to talk about. This podcast was produced by me, Nick, and I plagiarized all my sound effects and music from YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Shout out to all the people who produced that stuff for me. It said no copyright, royalty free when I downloaded it, sampled it. So we'll see how that works. If I get sued, you know where to reach me. You can contact us using all the links in the bottom. If there are links there, down there at the bottom of the YouTube descriptions, I don't really care. So there you go. Stay tuned for the next episode of All Jobs Suck. And we'll see what happens from there. Hope I don't get sued. Pretty good. Remake. Thanks for listening, everybody. All jobs suck.